It has been said that if you wish to see far ahead in time, you must first look far back to find lessons from the past. The archiving of documents from the past and the present is an important source for architecture and design. It captures the passing of time. It is a testament to the evolution of the discipline. The following masterclasses record the individual processes of professionals and their ways of working.
Hello, my name is Mathias Schwartz-Clauss. I am trained as an art historian, and since 8 years I am directing the domain de Boisbuchet, which is a research center and open-air laboratory in the southwest of France. I'm talking to you about our archive and library, how we use it, and how it came into being. The Institute of Boisbuchet has been founded in 1989 by cultural entrepreneur Alexander von Fegesack, and it is dedicated to design and architecture-related studies. Our mission is to engage students, professionals, and aficionados from all over the world and from various professional backgrounds in a vivid exchange about the design of our environment. This topical exchange mainly happens in a practical manner in the frame of workshops, residencies, but it also is nurtured by Boisbuchet's site and its abundant nature, its architectural park, annually changed exhibitions, a comprehensive design, crafts, arts, and architecture collection, and an archive and library that contains about 1,000 documents. Like the collection, this archive and library has been assembled over 50 years during von Fegesack's professional life. Neither that life nor the collection and archive have developed according to classical or even academic conventions. They've always meant learning by doing, by exploring, and by trying out culture. And culture here is meant in the largest possible sense, from discotheque, concerts, and theater, to horse or camelback riding, tourism, and agriculture, writing books, curating exhibitions, and the founding and directing of museums. A museum is also where I, as a young apprentice curator, first worked with Alexander. That was in 1989 at the Vitra Design Museum, which is today one of the world's leading institutions for design exhibitions. Alexander von Fegesack co-founded the museum that same year in 1989 and directed the institution until 2011. Alexander has collected the vast majority of his books, catalogs, prints and drawings, photos, films and correspondence during his management of the Vitra Design Museum. During all that time and until today, these documents constitute the most important source for the museum's work, for its exhibitions, catalogs, the building and organization of the collection, and for the museum's educational program. Again, the library and archive have not been assembled following an academic guideline. They grew thematically, project by project and exhibition by exhibition. By meeting colleagues, guests and authors, and by traveling from one end to the other. During his travels, Alexander von Fegesack spent entire days by scanning books on flea markets in the archives of a bankrupt editing house in Paris, at the 5 Miles Books second-hand shop in Los Angeles, in the cellar of Luis Barragan's forgotten artist friend Chucho Reyes in Mexico, or in the bedraggled archives of toilet factories in communist Poland or Czechoslovakia, from where he smuggled historic sales catalogs while running the risk of imprisonment for industrial espionage. It was actually Alexander's interest in Tonnet's bentwood furniture that initiated his library and collection in the 1960s. His fascination for this revolutionary technique, its economic impact, and its aesthetic possibilities really founded his passion for design, and it finally made him a distinguished expert in that field. Acquisitions of early Tonnet sales catalogs dating from the 19th century were later followed by the ones of Kohn, Mundus, Herman Miller, Crispen, Standard, Wohnbedarf, Poltronova, Cartel, and many others. With his mission of cultural mediation in his luggage, the people whom Alexander met over the years often entrusted their books, documents, and even entire divisions of their libraries or archives to him. Designers such as Hans Rism, Hans Wegner, and Vladimir Kagan, or the widows of George Nelson and Harry Bertoya, for instance. But paper, unfortunately, is surprisingly heavy material. And I personally remember well endless procedures at airports where we tried hard to get that extra luggage back home without paying a fortune. Alexander invested in his enormous and unique archive with his money, his enthusiastic talking, with our muscles and our time. Yes, these efforts were meant to serve the purpose to narrate and educate design. Nevertheless, I suspect another reason as well. Alexander van Vegesack was born in 1945 when his family had lost all property during the war. I guess that all these books, probably not very different from the design he collected, variously perpetuated knowledge, culture, and identity for himself. In any case, besides the practical, economic importance of design, which sales catalogs embody so well, Alexander often picked publications, preferably first editions, by their beauty, about typography, and by illustrations. And he rightfully chose by such looks. Nobody reads 30,000 documents, and there's also no reason to do so. Knowing the anatomy of books and being familiar with your interest, you can almost smell if a publication makes sense in your shelves. And that is another truth about passionate collecting versus academic complement. Nevertheless, as researchers for a workshop program, as curators for an exhibition, or as authors of a catalog's article, often requires reading and justifies the purchase of a certain book or magazine. Yet, these publications only organically contribute to the growth of our archive, which is still a circular growth around themes rather than a linear one following rules. Working with this library and archive is pure pleasure. It implies the discovery of countless unknown connections and inspires endless stories told in books, lectures, or exhibitions. Despite these marvels of Boisbuchet's archive and library, one should not forget their own historical context, which not only concerns the bibliophilic collector, but the circumstances of the archive's evolution as well. Its genesis coincides, for example, with a period where design only started to become a discipline of its own, and still questions itself today while searching for relevance in between its neighboring disciplines. Furthermore, Boisbuchet's library and archive came into being while our lives, professional ones at first and in privacy very soon later. We are thus constantly organizing and digitalizing the content of these sources while aiming to integrating it into the public network. Today, the immense collection of books and archivals which Alexander van Vegesack and his co-workers brought together over 50 years is accommodated in the Boisbuchet's 19th century piggery, one of Boisbuchet's most sublime buildings and, by today's standards, a true wellness spa for pigs. In recent years, this building has been converted into a professional library which has been equipped with rolling shelves, climate control, alarms for fire and burglary. Located directly beside Boisbuchet's workshop and the domain's historic vegetable gardens, this library and archive provides a haven of tranquility which perfectly complements the hands-on activity of our workshop. Facing today's requirements for social distancing, our work is at question. the cooperating hand in hand, and the talking, eating, or laughing together around a table. Archives, libraries, and collections should be available online to support research as much as possible. But physical presence and passing a tool, holding each other, or living in light of someone else cannot be replaced. The beauty of working with our library and archive has always been to working with these documents in a visual and physical simultaneity, in addition to talking to our librarian or to Alexander himself. Without this physical and personal experience, an archive or library is only half as exciting. And for photos of our exhibitions, the presence of an old photo print, an open book, or a magazine with a stunning cover, even if they're enclosed between, provides the same kick of authenticity and credibility as a vintage chair on the podium. On the occasion of the Design Museum's inauguration, French designer Philippe Starck, being asked for his advice, insisted that the museum's work must be strong on TV. I'm sure that likewise, any archives or library sense is so much superior to its digital or virtual use. Thank you very much.